a peaceful Igbo village at Enugu, nestled between rolling hills and lush green forests. Traditions were sacred. The people held fast to custom passed down from their ancestors. Ozoma and Emerie's love story was the talk of the town. Ozoma, a tall, slim, and beautiful young woman of 30, had skin as radiant as freshly polished ebony. She was a vision in her black and red traditional attire, adorned with coral beads around her neck and waist that drew admiration everywhere she went. Emerie, her husband, is a tall, muscular, dark in complexion, and handsome man of 40. Emerie often wore his red traditional wrapper tied around his waist, his collar beads gleaming against his dark skin, which symbolizes his stature and wealth in the village. Emerie is a man of many admirers. With his strength and charm made him one of the most respected men in the village. Their union was celebrated as they were both from the same village. A match that seemed destined by the gods. The couple share a deep bond, often seen sharing moments under the tree during moonlight, laughing during the village traditional festival, live peacefully, and share meals together. They had grown up in the same village, played as children, and eventually fell in love. But like every other village, this one had its own traditions. One of the most sacred rules was that a married woman could never have an affair with another man. The punishment for breaking this tradition was severe. The husband would fall gravely ill and eventually die unless the wife confessed. If she confessed, the penalty was no less humiliating. She had to sweep the entire village with a broom and then face a 2-year banishment. Ozoma loved Emerie deeply, but as years passed, she began to feel a void in her heart. Emerie was often busy with his work, attending to his farms and other village matters. Ozoma felt lonely and yearned for attention. One fateful day, during a village festival, she met Ndo, a young, charming storyteller who had recently moved into the village. Ndo's voice was like music, and his words painted vivid picture of distant land. Ozoma found herself drawn to his charisma. Their conversations were innocent at first, but as weeks turned into months, they grew closer. The line between friendship and something more brewed. One night, beneath the full moon, Ozoma, Ndu said as they sat under the mango tree at the village stream, "A woman as beautiful as you deserves more than loneliness. Does Emerie even see how lucky he is?" "Ndo, please," Ozoma replied, her voice shaking. "You know this is wrong. I am a married woman." "But your heart tells you the truth," Ndo whispered, his eyes locking with hers. Despite her inner turmoil, Ozoma found herself drawn to Ndo's attention. Days turned into weeks, and they crossed the forbidden line. It was a secret she swore to take to her grave, but secrets, as the elders say, have a way of unveiling themselves. Days later, Emerie fell ill, At first, it seems like a minor fever, but his condition worsened rapidly. He became bedridden. His once strong frame reduced to a shadow of himself. The village healer tried everything: herbs, incantation, and prayers, but nothing worked. He shook his head solemnly. "This is no ordinary sickness," the healer declared. "This is the curse of ancestors. Someone has broken the sacred tradition." The elders of the village were called to investigate. They knew the signs of the curse and began to question Uzumma. "Uzumma, Nne, is there anything you need to tell us?" Elder Iro asked, his voice calm but firm. Uzumma shook her head, her heart pounding. "No, Nanye, I have done nothing wrong," she replied, avoiding their gaze. But the guilt ate at her. Each time she saw Emerie written in pains, her conscience screamed louder. One stormy evening, as thunder rumbled and rain poured, Uzumma knelt beside Emerie. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Emerie, I have wronged you." Emerie's eyes opened weakly. "What? What do you mean?" he asked, his voice barely audible. "I broke the tradition," she confessed, sobbing uncontrollable. "I was with Ndo. I am sorry, Emerie. I am so sorry." "Why, Uzumma?" he asked weakly. "Was my love not enough?" Uzumma could only weep. The news spread like wildfire. The elders convened an emergency meeting, and Uzumma was summoned to the village square. "You have brought shame upon yourself and our traditions," Elder Iro declared. "You know the punishment." Uzumma nodded, and her head bowed. The next morning, Uzumma began her punishment. The entire villagers gathered to watch her as she swept through the dusty path. With a small broom in her hands, she swept every corner of the village, tears mixing with sweat as she swept. Children followed her, jeering. Women whispered. Men shook their head in disappointment, and even the elders looked at her with a mix of pity and disdain. As she swept past Emerie's compound, she paused, her heart breaking. Emerie, too weak to leave his bed, watched from the window. "I am sorry, Emerie," she murmured. "May the gods forgive me." After 3 days of sweeping, Uzumma was escorted to the village boundary. She turned to look at Emerie one last time, though he was recovering. The pain in his eyes was evident. "Forgive me," she whispered. Emerie didn't respond. He simply turned and walked away. Uzumma spent the next 2 years in a neighboring village. She worked tirelessly, helping women at the market and tending to farm to survive. Her beauty, once a source of pride, now felt like a curse. She used the time to reflect on her actions and their consequences. She realized the importance of honesty, loyalty, and respecting traditions. Meanwhile, back in their village at Enugu, Emedie's conditions began to improve. The elders believed Ozomma's punishment had appeased the gods. Though his body healed, his heart carried the scar of betrayal. When her punishment ended, Ozomma returned to her village as a changed woman. When she approached the village square, her head bowed in humility. The elders gathered once more to decide her fate. Ozomma, the elders began. You have served your punishment, but tell us, what have you learned? Ozomma knelt before them, her voice steady but filled with emotion. I have learned that betrayal destroys not just others, but oneself. I was blinded by selfish desire and forgot the value of loyalty and love. I seek forgiveness from the gods, from my husband, and from my people. The elders conferred and finally declared, you may return. But remember, the path of dishonor is a lonely one. Though people still whispered about her past, she focused on rebuilding her life. Ozomma returned to Emedie's compound, unsure of what awaited her. To her surprise, Emedie opened the door and silently stepped aside, allowing her in. Though words were few, their eyes spoke of pain, regret, and a faint glimmer of hope. Over time, they began to rebuild their bond, bricks by bricks. Ozomma dedicated herself to her husband and their home, determined never to stray from the path of honor again. Moral lesson. This story of Ozomma teaches us that loyalty and self-control are virtues that safeguard relationships and communities. Betrayal not only hurts others, but also brings pains and regret to the betrayer. Upholding tradition and respect for one vow is important for harmony in the society. And the question here is that, if you were in Ozomma's position, would you confess and face the consequences, or would you keep the secret and risk your husband's life? And again, what did you think about this tradition? Do you think that this village tradition is fair for both men and women? Please drop your answer in the comment section. And if you're a story lover, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you in my next story. Bye.